Hey everyone, welcome back to Boss Lady. I can't believe Christmas is only a couple days away. With so much going on, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my channel. There's so much going on here and there will be so much in this video, so much content to share. I can't wait to really get started with you, so let's just get into it. So most of my videos are around how to dress at work and really how to be your best, most authentic self every day. And today I wanted to share with you some really interesting things that I've learned over the last couple months. So one of the things is I work for a medical device company. So that means I work for a company that manufactures medical equipment or medical implants in the case of where I work, and these are implantable devices that help patients that have chronic pain. So in the medical world and technologies, med tech, that kind of space, it's pretty common for companies at the end of the year to implement some sort of travel hold or travel freeze. And in my case, that's exactly what happened. So it's pretty common. Companies get kind of towards the end of their year, they're looking at budgets, they say, whoa, we need to kind of put the brakes on spending. And for me, I travel quite a bit. You know that I love Delta Airlines. I've posted about Delta Airlines. I love that they have the Diamond status, which means they really take care of their customers that travel a lot. So for me, the problem was they put a travel freeze, or the company that I work for put a travel freeze, and that meant I couldn't travel for the month of November or December, which it's great because on the one hand, I'm able to spend a lot more time working from home and spending time with my children, my husband, all leading up and around the holidays, which meant I got to be home around Thanksgiving and of course around Christmas time, and the ability to work remotely. The downside of that though, is that I was well on my way and well on track to earn my Diamond status for 2024. But the travel freeze put a big kibosh on those plans. So I had to figure out how I could get my Diamond status by doing one more flight or multiple flights by the end of the year and make it to that next level. So for me, I had plenty of miles. The miles were no problem, but Delta offers something called MQDs, and they're called Medallion Qualification Dollars. And it's basically the amount of money that you spend on Delta flights or Delta partner flights. And they use some sort of calculation to figure out what the MQDs are for every flight that you take. So I was coming up short on those, which meant that I needed to actually physically fly on the plane. I couldn't just book flights and spend money for trips that were gonna happen in January. I actually had to physically go and fly these flights in order to get my Diamond status. So where do you go right between, Thanksgiving, the end of the year? And a friend of mine said, one of the most beautiful places in the world before Christmas is London. So my husband and I started looking at flights to London, and fortunately we were able to come up with a flight that would get me enough MQDs, and I was able to use all the miles that I had accrued over the last year or two in order to purchase his flight. So fortunately, we were able to kind of kill a couple birds with stones. On the one hand, we were able to satisfy the MQD for Delta to get the Diamond status for next year. We were also able to have a getaway of just the two of us because my parents were able to watch our kids. And the third thing is, which I think is another video altogether, is I also invest in Broadway and West End and some films, which is why I went to the Tony Awards last year. And so one of the plays that I'm an investor in is playing on the West End. It's called Dear England, and it closes in January. So I was really dying to see this play. It's basically about the psychology of penalty kicks. It follows Harry Kane and Gareth Southgate, who was the coach at the time. And it's really an incredible play. I had seen so much about it on social media, and I was really just dying to see it before it closed. And so for us, this just made so much sense to try to get to London, experience everything and the magic of Christmas, and then be able to see the show, check that box. Another one of the shows that I'm really passionate about, it's actually my favorite show of all time, is Cabaret. And Cabaret is currently playing in the West End. They created the KitKat Club. And the KitKat Club is this underground club, and it's where the whole show takes place. And so the show is done theater in the round, which means the play is in the center and you have audience on all sides of the stage. And so what was amazing was that we were also able to see Cabaret, and on top of seeing Cabaret, we were able to sit at these little bistro tables. There were certain tables that were right in the front row. They served drinks and dinner and all that. And I think because we were in the front and because I was wearing an incredible dress, I was able to go on stage at the beginning of Act 2 and dance with the dancers. So there's been so much to unpack here. Everything from flying on Delta. It was awesome because we went on Delta One. We got there. The shopping trip at Harrods and the beautiful, beautiful lights and the city of London right before Christmas time. It's just so incredible. So you have that, you have the theater, Dear England, Cabaret, so great, and it's a lot. So I'm gonna show it all to you. And of course, the best part is the fashion. So I had to bring in reinforcements. I had Ivy come style me, so this was not a business trip. It was a for fun trip. So the fashion is extra, and I can't wait to share all of this with you. And one more thing, which is pretty awesome too, when I was at Harrods has something called a sale room. Yes, a sale room. So the entire room of the store only has sale merchandise, and it's very, very high-end designer. So an incredible shopping experience there. I highly recommend. And all of that is being shipped. Right now it is being held up in customs, but once it comes, I can't wait to have another video and share all the incredible pieces that I was able to find in London. So let's break it all down, and I'm gonna show you our incredible trip. All right, so one of the things that has been really helpful to me through the years when I travel is I have a driver, his name's Bob, who comes and picks me up for trips. And so it really came about because I had gotten an Uber, and he gave me his card and said, hey, if you ever need a ride to the airport, let me know, I'm happy to take you. One time I was in a pickle, I couldn't get an Uber to come, and so I thought, where's that guy Bob, and where's his card? I found it, called him, and he has been driving me to the airport ever since. So I use him on personal trips too. It just makes life so much easier. It takes out the hassle of having to deal with parking and the stress of all that. And honestly, I typically wait until the last minute to go, and it really holds me accountable, knowing that Bob is gonna be there at the time that he's supposed to be, and that means I get to the airport on time. So Bob came, picked us up, took us to the airport in Cincinnati. So we had a Cincinnati flight around 5:30 p.m., which was great because my parents were staying at our house, so they didn't have to get there really early, or we didn't have to have our kids stay there the night before. So Bob picked us up around 3 o'clock. We headed to the airport, which was pretty much smooth sailing, and we did what we always do. We went to the Delta Lounge, relaxed for a little bit, and got ready for our flight. We had a flight to Detroit. So unfortunately, there's one flight that is direct from Cincinnati to London, and that wasn't gonna get me the Delta point, which was started out as the entire basis for this trip. So we had a layover in Detroit. We had a couple hours in Detroit, and then we were able to get on our way to London. Crazy thing though, we're standing in Detroit at our gate, waiting to board our plane, and we run into friends that we have known for so many years. It was so shocking, but they were heading to Europe too with their kids, and it was just a really funny encounter that we ended up seeing them there as well. So we got on our plane and we got to enjoy Delta One. So it was nice, but the one thing I will say that is a downside when it comes to traveling to Europe or traveling to London is that by the time you get in there and you get settled, the flight isn't all that long, but when you arrive, it's 10 a.m., so it's time to get the day going. And unfortunately, I just didn't sleep as much as I would have liked to on the flight. It's only about 6.5 hours. I probably slept for maybe 3. So when we arrived to London, fortunately, we were able to check in at our hotel, and they were able to get us right in the room. So we took a little bit of a nap, which was super nice, got revived, and then we had our big cabaret night. So we stopped somewhere and had dinner first, and then it was off to the show. When you got to the show, everyone was lined up waiting to get into the KitKat Club. Like I mentioned, we had tickets which allowed us to be right up close in the front, sit at these little cocktail tables that had the phone. It was just like in the story, in the musical, and we were able to be up and close. They were very strict about no cameras, no phones, couldn't tape anything. They made you put a sticker over the camera of your phone, and if they caught you filming, you were gonna be out. So we adhered to that warning and had a magical time. I was so fortunate to be able to go up on stage the beginning of Act 2, and it was an experience that I will never forget. Okay, so the next day was really all about shopping. Oh, and I had planned on visiting a Legree studio while I was there, because you all know how much I love the fitness, but I found out the one that was close to where we were staying had closed permanently, and the only other studio that was around was 30 miles away. So that was really not gonna be an option for us, but I had my gliders and my sliders, and I did that workout every morning. So the next day, which was Friday, was all about the shopping. And for me, there was one place I wanted to go, and that was Harrods. So what was great about going right before Christmas time was that I could come back with some wonderful gifts, some unique gifts that people could enjoy that they couldn't get here in the States. So the first place that I went to when I got to Harrods was the Marketplace, and that is down on the bottom floor. And down there is where they have all their specialty nuts and chocolates and all the things that they are known for. What I fell in love with are the cocoa covered almonds, the truffles, and of course I got a Harrods bear and brought that back for my daughter. I also got other chocolates and really cool gifts that I could use as stocking stuffers, and also gifts that I got for our neighbors. So it was great going there and being able to pick up all of those gifts. Then it was all about the clothes and the shoes. So I found my way to, after of course walking through the incredible exhibits of Louis Vuitton and Dior and Gucci and all those amazing places right on the first floor, it was time to go upstairs, and I found myself in the sale room, and I just really never made it out. So the staff there were incredible. They were so helpful. The service level was just, it was astronomical. astronomical, and they were great because I found some pieces that were so unique, and they were very high-end designers that were marked down 80-90%. So they were just incredible deals, and with the exchange rate, we were able to ship them and then of course not have to pay taxes on those. So like I mentioned earlier, I am waiting for those to clear customs, but I can't wait for that box of great fashion to arrive and share it with all of you. It's gonna be an awesome killer video. So that was the day of shopping, and then Friday night we had our big plan to go see Dear England and talk about an incredible show. If you like football, if you don't like football, you're gonna love the play. It's so great, I highly recommend it. It is just one of those plays that really speaks to a universal audience, and it is going to be coming to Broadway in March of 2024. So if you're not in London and you can't see it in London before it closes in January, look for it in New York City on Broadway next year. Okay, so at this point, we arrived Thursday morning. We have seen 2 shows. We saw Cabaret Thursday night, we saw Dear England Friday night, and by Saturday, it was time to just kind of not have plans. And so what I really wanted to do was make sure that we could go to the Ritz London. And I had been trying so long to get in to do the afternoon tea, but as I'm sure most of you are aware, that books out months and months in advance. And of course, this trip was not planned months and months in advance. But even though we didn't sit down for the formal afternoon tea, we still got to experience the magic of the Ritz London Hotel. And wow, it did not disappoint. It was absolutely gorgeous. And you don't have to go to the afternoon tea to experience it. You can just go like we did. We went over to the bar area and got to experience the Ritz in all of its glory and history. So we did that. And then we picked up also some souvenirs for, well, a couple things for myself. They were super nice, and we got a nice little cool sign for my son, and a little do not disturb Ritz-Carlton sign to put on his gaming room, which he really liked. So that was our Saturday. And then Saturday evening, my husband finally, he said, I want to watch the Bengals game. So we were able to go and explore. We found a cute little pub that was willing to put on NFL football. It did take a little bit of bribing to make that happen because, as you know, they're all about the football or soccer. So it was a little bit of some sweet talking to get the Bengals game put on, but we came out with a big win. And I will say, those British people over there take their Christmas very seriously. As you can see, it's almost like a rom-com. They are completely decked out in Christmas, head to toe, Christmas sweaters. There were a bunch of nurses that came there for their company party. They had on the Santa hats, and boy, was it a glorious evening. So that was our trip. And then Sunday, it was time to head home. We were flying out of Heathrow, and fortunately, we got out. We had a really tight turnaround in Detroit, but we barely made it. And then we got back on Sunday as scheduled and just had enough time to make it to our daughter's basketball game Sunday night. So that is our London trip in a nutshell. I hope you learned a few things, and I hope you get to experience Christmas time in London very soon. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Merry Christmas.